So today, my name is Gary. Not just today, all the time my name is Gary. But today I will be going over Smart Phonics Readers, which is one of eFuture's newest reader series, and kind of giving you ideas and tips on overall how to use them in your classroom and kind of how to use readers in general in your classroom, all right? So I know it's been a long day or early morning for some people, some of our attendees here. So to start out with my webinar today, I want to do a quick warm-up. So a lot of times in your class, I suggest hopefully that you kind of warm up your class, get them in the mode of thinking a little bit, trying to warm up their minds. When I was a teacher, I tried to use the warm-up activity and used it as kind of flipping the switch. So, some of our students, like in Korea, my students would be having all of their classes in Korean. So when they came into my class, get a warm up, kind of flip the switch, turn on the light to get them in the mind of English. Okay. So I'm going to do a quick warm up activity with you guys, see how much your brain is working right now, or get it kind of jump started for your day. So I'm going to do a rebus activity. And what this is kind of picture riddles, all right? So I'm going to show you some kind of pictures and images, and I want to see if you can kind of solve the riddle, okay? So these answers are going to be either English phrases or kind of words, okay? So we'll go with the first ones here, all right? So we have the first one here. This one's actually a song. The answer would be a song. So this is kind of a riddle here. So if you can write in the chat, if you can figure out what the answer is for this one here. So a few hints that you can think of is, look at the colors, look at the positionings and all that. Ooh, we have some good ones. So make sure, again, this is another one to change all chat settings to all panelists and attendees, so some people can see the answers. But yes, this first one here is Yellow Submarine. Very good. The classic Beatles song. And we had one person get the second one so far, but they only sent the answer to me. So I want to give a little bit of time to see if anyone else can get this one on the right. So far, I think you were from Malaysia, Lim. So I think we have one attendee from Malaysia that got the right side image. So it's a saying, this one here. So the answer on this one, so this one, again, warming up your mind, this is level 1, is what goes up must come down. Okay. So now we're kind of warmed up here. So these are the kind of, the ways that you kind of think about things. So what, the spelling of what goes up is going up. So then and must is going down. All right. So that's the second one there. All right. So now let's go on to level 2. Okay. So let's go to level 2, see if we can get the answers for the next one. Okay. So this one's a little bit harder. Tried to give you guys some time to think about it. Don't want to spend too much time, don't want to spend too much time because I have a lot to go over today, but just trying to warm up you guys' minds a little bit. See if you can get these ones. So looking at the positioning of the words in this one, wondering if I made them a little bit too hard. If you want a hint, just say hint in chat. So it's close. Ooh, Carolina, you're very close. There's only six of them, but you're on the right track. Okay, so look at the positioning of the word travel. Very good. There's one right there. Travel overseas. Travel overseas or overseas travel. Okay, very good. Travel under the sea, close. It was over, the positioning. So travel is overseas. So overseas travel. And then same thing here. Look at the positioning of the word. So this one here would be in between jobs. So it's job here, job here. In is in the middle between them. So in between jobs. Okay. Obviously, I wouldn't do these for my students, like at the younger ages. But since we're adults here, I'm trying to, warm up, challenge you guys a little bit. And then the last one here, these ones might be a bit difficult because you look at the, you can see the words and then the numbers. So you can try to see how many things here. And this is the last level. I won't go above this one here. Life is one close. Ooh, Liza got one. Okay, very good. So for this one here, I'll give a hint and say count how many ones there are. Cameron, very good. You got the second one. Safety in numbers. And then the first one is for once in my life. So there's 4 ones in my life. And then safety in numbers. Okay, very good. So these are kinds of riddles you can do with your students, depending on the age, make them more simpler for them. Another way is just using pictures, and then you can say you're using or doing like sentences. You can use pictures to have the students make a sentence. So if it's like, I am happy, you can like put a picture of an I, and then maybe just the word am, and then a smiley face, and then they can use it that way. Money. Oh, that's an interesting one. My life is money. Okay. All right, so that's the warm-up. So let's get into our agenda for today. All right. So I'm going to briefly go over just the introduction and the components of our reader series, Smart Phonics Readers. Before I even get into tips and ideas, it's very important that we know what kind of resources we have as teachers. Okay, so I'm going to go over what we have available to us when we're using Smart Phonics Readers in the classroom, and then different ideas and tips that you can do in your classroom. All right, so let's get into it. So the introduction. So Smart Phonics Readers, we have 5 different levels. So going from 1 to 5, and each level has 4 stories with them. Right? And our target mostly is the lower elementary, so like kind of the beginning learners. And we have made it so that it kind of goes together with our actual phonics series, Smart Phonics. Okay, so a lot of the things that you'll see in the story kind of go together with the series. So just kind of viewing our little level chart here, although it is connected with Smart Phonics, you can use these readers whether you're using EFL Phonics or School Phonics as well, because we do make it so each story kind of focuses on certain targets for phonics. There's different phonics targets per book. Okay, so you can easily kind of match the books to whichever target that you're practicing with your students. All right. So kind of a breakdown of the components of the readers. So we have the individual books, and then there's the combined version, and also we have apps to accompany these readers. Okay, so kind of a visual representation here. So we have the combined version. So these are just one kind of big book, and they kind of bring together each of these 4 stories under them. So each book of the combined version will have 4 stories, okay, included. And then with each of these levels, there's an app that corresponds with it, okay? And we'll go kind of deeper on what is included in the app. So as far as teachers' resources, we have a lot of things for you teachers. So if you're trying to teach these readers, we have a lot of things that you can use to kind of help you if you haven't used a reader in your classroom before. So whether it's the sound files for the story, answer keys for a lot of the activities. If you're using Smart Phonics and you pick up these readers as well, we have these kind of syllabus on where they kind of match up with each other. Lessons plans, tests, a lot of, supplementary activity sheets and book reports, flashcards, kind of have a lot for you, involved in these series. And then within the book, kind of the layout, each book has 16 pages, and each story is about 11 pages long. And then we have 4 pages for kind of extra activities in the back that the students can do. And then the picture dictionary as well in the back that shows the key vocabulary, are all the highlighted phonics target words in the story. Okay. So kind of the key points of what we wanted to focus on. Like I said, this reader series is made together with Smart Phonics. So you can see kind of the breakdown here of these are the phonics targets, and then the reader will kind of encompass all of these phonics targets into the story. Okay, so kind of more of the syllabus kind of look here. So these are some of the words that the students practiced in Smart Phonics, and you'll see them kind of again in the reader. All right. So example here. So this is the picture dictionary in the Smart Phonics reader book. And these are, the pictures and the words that they're practicing in Smart Phonics. So you can see there's a lot of overlap with, even the pictures and the words that are being used. So you can see the apple is there, apple's there, the book, and the cat. Okay. So it's a lot of kind of even more repetition for the students practicing the words that they learned. So they won't be going into this reader and you won't have to kind of teach new words after coming from your from the phonics book. Okay. So we have a lot of fun stories and illustrations that were made for this series. Myself, I've actually wrote some of the stories as well for the series. And a lot of them we tried to make realistically, but also, fun and imaginative at the same time. Like it's not just, random sentences that we throw in to fulfill the phonics targets. We actually try to make them into an actual story with like a beginning and end and everything. Yeah. So these are some of the kind of previews of the images for each kind of the levels. Okay. And then going into the app. So we have a lot of things in the app as well. We'll have a QR code on the back of the book as well, so you can download them. So each app will have all of the stories in them, and we'll have the animation. So there's an animation for each story, there's audio files for each story, and then the flashcards and an extra word game for the students to do. So here's kind of an animation of one of the stories here. So we tried to make the stories and the illustrations very kind of good, like very high quality here. So here's kind of the animation for one of the stories. This is one of the stories actually I wrote.
June and Jude are on the dune. Jude is June's mule.
So can everyone hear the audio correct? Fine? Just want to check.
The sun is hot.
Sounds good.
The dune is very hot.
So you can see as well, we highlight all of the target words that are practiced in the story. So this one here is the magic E for the U, so the long U sound.
The dune. June sees a fox on a tune. The fox is making the tune.
Yeah, so that's just a little preview of the audio of the video animations there. And with a lot of with the illustrations as well, if you kind of look at each of the stories, let me see if I can go back. The stories all kind of have a different illustration style as well. So it's not just one style throughout all the books, like each of them kind of has their own little personality to them as well. Okay, so that's the animation part. We do have the audio. So using the app in the classroom, you can go through each of those kind of steps with the students. So we have to listen to the story, we have to listen and read along, and listen and repeat. Okay, so there's the different ways to read with the student with the audio. And then the flashcards kind of going through. So kind of similar flashcards that you would see in Smart Phonics. And then they can listen and play the audio. Yeah, so you can do a lot of things. So describing the picture before play the track. Yeah, so I'll be going through kind of tips and ideas through that before we get into class. This is just kind of the overview of what we have available to us to use in the classroom. Okay. Then you have the word game. So this is something that the students can use to follow up on the story. And then the phonics activities as well. So a lot of matching, some check and say, kind of seeing if their comprehension level is there. And then the picture dictionary kind of for any reference for the students. Okay. And we also tried to include sight words as well. Never too early to start getting the students more exposed to sight words. And then kind of extra activity sheets as well, like I referred to earlier. We have book reports, kind of story activity sheets and story cards. You can use these in various different ways kind of to do. So here we have a little spot the difference, kind of tapping into the students' cognitive skills to see if they can distinguish what's different. Okay. And then for the teacher as well, we have the lesson plan for each story. Okay, so if you're just picking up the story and say, oh, I don't really have an idea how I can teach this, we have this kind of support for you to, pick up the book, kind of see how a general guideline would be for a lesson, and then can kind of go with it. All right. So now that we know the full kind of components and what resources we have to use in our lessons, kind of go over some activity tips and kind of ideas for you guys. But before I go ahead, I wanted to see, was there any questions regarding the components or anything? Which age will be suitable to work with this book? The target is lower elementary, but that can be also, obviously with the kind of the illustrations and all that, like it would be lower elementary, but this would be good for any beginning English learner that's been trying to learn how to read or practice their phonics and all that. So I wouldn't say there's an exact age, but there is kind of a target level, essentially, that you would want to use the readers with. Okay, so is there any questions? Or everything is kind of clear to all of you? Everyone's good. We can move on to the next section here. No questions? All right, sounds good. Also, there is a Q&A box. I didn't mention this earlier. So there is a Q&A box, so feel free, if you do have questions while I'm talking, feel free to put them in there, and my colleagues will answer them, or I can get to them at the end as well. All right? Okay, so with readers, talked about how they are kind of made in company with the Smart Phonics book. So you can use them as a supplement in your class, but then also as well, you can use them as the main part of a lesson. Okay. As the main part. Okay. So like here, like we talked about, just kind of reiterating how the story and the series goes together. So it's kind of seamless when you go into a lesson. Okay, so looking at the three parts of a reading lesson. So if we look back at the lesson plan that was given, there's kind of three main points of each reading lesson. So it's the before reading, the during reading, and the after reading. Okay, so there's different things that we can do for each part. And then I put at the end, if time permits, depending on how long your classes are, whether they're 40 minutes, 50 minutes or so, you could throw in a game at the end for the students. Okay, so kind of go through each of these bit by bit. So this is what the lesson plan says for the before reading part. And notice it's about 5 minutes. So this would be about the warm up kind of part of it. One of the big parts of before reading would be kind of just like kind of introducing the story, warming up the students, and just walking through the images. So you can look at the cover, you can even go through the book, kind of not even reading the sentences to it, but just having the students look at each page of the story and just getting them in the English mindset and seeing what they know and seeing or trying to get them into kind of the story. So kind of looking at here, so let's do a little bit of a picture walk. So this is one. So this isn't the actual cover, but this is one illustration in one of the stories. So you can just go in and ask the students some questions here. So I'm asking you guys, what do you see? What do you see in this picture here? What do you see? And then you can just have them say anything that they know, any words that they know. So what do you see in this illustration? You see a duck. Good. There's a duck. What else? So I'm gonna take this moment to see a boy, see baskets. There's a mom with her child. Good. Duck, woman, boy, baskets. What is this over here? What's sitting on top here? Bottles of water. Good. Bottles of water. And where are they? They're at the store. Good, the store. And then, with your students, like, oh, do you go to you can kind of follow up and do some questions as well. Oh, do you go to the store with your mom? Like, what do you buy? You can ask them kind of follow-up questions like this as well. And then kind of focusing in on the duck. I think the duck was like the first thing that, a lot of students might see. You ask, oh, what's the duck holding? What's in the duck's bag? Looks like it has some green onions, maybe a carrot, some fruits. Yeah. And depending on what the students say as well, you can, continually follow up. Okay. So I see a lot of people say fruits. So what are your favorite fruits? Like what kind of fruits do you like? What was the last fruit you ate? Even. I think the last thing I ate was an orange. So you can ask these kinds of questions to the students, and this also, at the same time, gives another learning opportunity for the students. Like with these follow-up questions, you can expose them to a little bit of new words. You don't have to outright teach them, but it gets that kind of sound and the vocabulary into their head at the same time. So that's kind of the picture walk. You can do that with each of the pages in the book, just asking simple questions to the students. And then predictions. So here's another thing. So what do you think will happen? So predictions, very good for when you're looking at the cover. So looking at the cover of the book. So the title is Snack Day. What do you think is going to happen in this story? So what do you guys think? So we have Snack Day. What are some things you think will happen during Snack Day? So there'll be a party. Good. A pet party, with all the animals. There'll be some games. Good. What kind of snacks do you think they will have? Food. Oh, what kind of food? Presents. Some sweet candy. classmate's birthday, cake, lots of cakes, sandwiches, candy, balloons. Oh, you guys, this class is wonderful. Students will have a special event. They'll bring cakes, fruits, and peanut butter sandwiches. Oh, I'm getting hungry now. I always end up talking about food in my webinars. Healthy snacks. So they'll have some vegetables, some carrots and celery. Excuse me. Snack party. Yes. Okay, so these are the kinds of things you can do. This gets the students very engaged as well. So they're just thinking about, oh, what's going to happen in the story? Pizza. Oh, pizza. So they'll think about, oh, maybe what kind of snacks will they be having? What's going to happen at the party? And it gets them really into that kind of mindset. So like now we're all thinking about a party or a snack day. Maybe even thinking about when we had snack days when we were, in school. And then kind of anticipating what's going to happen in the story. Okay? So it gets the students really engaged. So this is kind of the main point as well for the before reading activities and kind of warm-ups that you do. Try to put them into that universe of the story, and kind of get them interested and curious on what's going to happen. Okay? So another thing you can do with the kind of before reading and with the images, I had a worksheet earlier that had kind of story cards. You can make sure that they don't know the sentences of the stories, but you can take these images and basically have the students predict what they think the order will be. So just showing them the cover and then taking those story cards and say, okay, what's like here, if we have these images here, it looks like one got cut off. Actually, on the bottom, there's a bird talking to another animal here that's playing with a soccer ball. So if I've numbered the pictures here, 1, 2, 3, 4, which one do you think will be number 1 of these in these stories or in these pictures? Which picture? Actually, I think I can write down. Yeah, so they can guess the order, predict the order. Which one will be number 1? Which would go first? So there's one person here that thinks the third picture can go first. Okay, and just getting the students the second one. It's a lot of twos and threes. And then you can go again and just, which one do you think is the last one? Which would be the last one in the story? Number 4. Okay. See, and you can kind of get the students thinking about it that way. It's like, oh yeah, which one would be this way? So unfortunately, I'm not going to be giving you the answer. You're going to have to read the story to find out. Okay. All right, so let's continue on. Just a little teaser, sorry. And then we have the during reading. So here, this is where these kind of the apps and the audios will be coming in. So you're listening to the story, reading the story with the class, even talking about it. So after, you're going through, like we talked about with the picture walk, you can be reading the story. So I'll go through one page, read the sentence, and you can still do a follow-up kind of short picture walk with the students. Okay, so here the lesson plan gives you some questions that you can ask to your students. Okay, so say I read the question, and then as you're going through, you can talk about what's happening in the story, as well as keeping the students engaged in what's happening on the page. Another one here, can you find the items that start with the sounds and then kind of give them kind of things to look for as well. Okay? And then retelling the story, showing the story cards, and then having the students talk about it again. Okay, so it's just kind of making the students engaged a bit more, and as well as trying to, get the students to practice as much as they can. Okay. So some other reading strategies. So we have choral reading. So this is you kind of reading to your class and have the students reading as well. Paired reading. So kind of giving the students the book and then kind of reading together. Echo reading. So this is basically the kind of listen and repeat. But, as teachers, you don't want to kind of go through and like, oh, the boy saw the dog, and like no inflection, no feeling at all. So with echo reading, kind of, mix up your intonations a little bit, add a bit of different feelings into it. And with the echo, the students have to copy exactly the same way that you are reading it as well. So this is kind of, another way, especially with the young learners, all these strategies and tips, trying to keep the student as engaged as possible into the story. It's kind of the biggest goal, or essentially, of our biggest hurdle, I should say, not goal, but biggest hurdle of getting the students to, participate in the lesson. Because we're thinking, beginning learners who are 4 or 5 years old, their attention spans can be all over the place. At times, I'm sure you can think of a student that, had either a lot of energy or just, they were kind of looking out the window or something, and just trying to bring them back into the class. So just trying to think of various strategies that will help teachers, help yourself, get the students into the mind of reading. How can you do an echo reading? So if I had the story, actually, let me grab one of the books here. Let's look at, so we have book 5 here. So we have A Seed in the Wind. So this is the first one here, okay? A Seed in the Wind. So if I'm reading here, so we have the first sentences in the front. So like I talked about, not just having, a monotonous level tone, just having, say you had like a bag of feelings, and you can pick one out and just use that feeling. So if I'm going to read it very sadly, a seed flies away from a flower. It flies away in the wind. And then the students will try to match my tone. So like an echo, it has to be trying to go as close as possible to how the teacher is reading it to the students, okay? Because sometimes you'll just read a sentence, a seed flies away from a flower. And the students repeat, a seed flies away from the flower. But you want to try to add a little fun element to it. So like a seed flies away from the flower. And then they kind of, try to copy the teacher, essentially, because students at that age, they love to try to mimic different things. So just playing around with your intonations, playing around with your voice. If your voice is very deep, you can try to go with a very high pitched, very high pitched voice. Okay, so just trying to be more playful, trying to have fun at the same time with the story. Okay. My voice can't get that high. My voice is very deep. So, and it's quite dry right now as well. So I can't really manipulate my voice as much for you guys. But hopefully you got the general idea for that one. And then we have the last one here, timed repeat reading. So this one will focus a bit more on fluency. You can do this kind of strategy with, all of these strategies you can do with various ages. But this one is more focused on fluency. So you can take the story, you can either type it out or make a sheet, and just kind of time the students to see how much they can read in a given amount of time. I've done this activity, actually a full example in some other webinars that you can see. But in this one, kind of you give them a time limit, say 30 seconds, see how much they can read. So they can either count the words or count the sentences. And you can do this in pairs. So you can kind of combine the strategies where the students are reading the book, but then, their partner is kind of monitoring them, because you don't want them to just try to speed read and not pronounce the words properly. So their partner can kind of police them in, okay, you didn't say that word, I didn't understand what that word was. Just kind of practicing on their fluency of the words. Okay. So was there any other questions regarding these strategies? Sorry, my echo reading example wasn't, my voice isn't as trained as I used to be. Using puppets. Oh, that is another great thing as well. Using puppets. So even going into maybe something afterwards as well is kind of doing theater with the students, role playing with the students. That comes probably more in the after reading part, but using puppets while you're reading so you can kind of manipulate your voice. Hopefully you can do it if you're holding the book at the same time, or hopefully it's on the screen or something, you're holding the puppets. You can do that way. Definitely a good idea as well. Okay. Hopefully I'm not speaking too fast as well. Hopefully you guys can all understand me. Okay. All right. So let's go with after reading. Flashcards and put in order. Yeah, definitely. Sorry. Okay, so after reading. So after reading activities, so these are where, the in-book worksheets will come into play. A lot of outside activities that as a teacher that you can think of using can come in as well. Technically, you can throw in the games in the after reading, but in the after reading, you really want to make sure that the students have comprehended the story and fully understand it. A lot of times, so this is kind of another side tip that I'll be saying verbally. A lot of times, even just this goes into actual lessons as well. You do want to make sure that before you do any games with the students that you've kind of checked their comprehension. Because a lot of times, if you go into a game too soon in the lesson, you risk having to teach while trying to play the game. Like say if the students didn't fully understand the vocabulary or they didn't learn the vocabulary or sentences, then it's hard for them to really enjoy the game, right? So if like you give them a quiz, say you did like a quiz game with them and you reach a question and then all the students still didn't know what the word was, it kind of gets a bit difficult if, to enjoy the game fully if you have to stop and kind of reiterate some of the targets for them to understand. Okay. So for the after reading, this is again kind of checking their comprehension. So we have a lot of different ways you can do it. So we have word to picture matching, what happens next, comic strip. So picture matching, so this goes into, like I said, the in-book kind of worksheets or the extra supplementary worksheets that come with the series. So we have the matching, match the target, phonics target with the word or in the picture. And then I'm going to get extra kind of writing practice here as well. With what happens next, we can go back to this, go back to the prediction. So this is just a follow-up. So if we did the predictions with the story cards, so they did the prediction on one side, and then after reading the story, we go revisit their predictions and see which ones were right. And then if there were some ones that are wrong, have the students reorganize it into the correct order. Okay, so there's kind of an A and B to some of the activities here. And then a comic strip. So we're going into the snack day. So now we can actually see. So we were making predictions. We looked at, I asked you what kind of snacks do you think that they would have, and then something that you can do. You can look in, and now let's see what snacks they had. Okay, so there is some cake. There was cake. There was a lot of you that said cake. There's some cake there. There's a cupcake. Looks like there's cookies and milk. So there's a lot of right answers in there. Unfortunately, there's no pizza. As good as an answer that was, there's no pizza, but there is some watermelon. It looks like I can't see here. There might be a sandwich in the back there. So we had a lot of the same ideas for snacks that came out in the story as well. And then, so with the comic strip here, you can just take these sentences again and then kind of tapping into students' kind of imagination and creativity. have the students kind of draw. So after, they've seen the kind of illustration they saw in the book, now give them kind of the same sentences and let them kind of make their own illustrations for the story. Okay, so today's snack day at school, the classroom smells good, and then students can this is kind of a basic template that you can do for the students. Just have 4 boxes, 4 sentences, and have the students kind of do it. And then maybe when the comic strip is finished, they can, what's it called? When the comic strip is finished, they can, read their comic to their partner or to another student and practice. There's another thing you can do as well. So like for here, this is kind of another wrinkle that you can put on this activity. So here we have cookies and milk. You can have the students replace. So kind of a very small change. You can have the students replace certain parts of the story with their own idea and then draw it. So instead of cookies and milk, we can have pizza and milkshakes, and then they can draw pizza and milkshakes in their new comic. It just gives them a little bit of a way to have a bit of fun with the story as well, but still keeping the kind of general idea of the story, but just changing some small parts of it to kind of make it their own, kind of personalizing it themselves. And another little side note here, with that kind of personalization, it does give the students an opportunity to kind of learn more as well. Like I always talk about, there's always a good thing to give the students an opportunity to extend the vocabulary a little bit. So if the students wanted to know what their favorite snack was in English, what the word is in English, can ask you and then teach them how to spell it. And with this kind of personalization, those kinds of words the students are more inclined to remember what that word is, because it's something that actually means something more to them. So like if they don't really like cookies but they like pizza, then like they'll remember how to say the word pizza, which I think pizza is kind of almost universal. But like if certain kinds of fruits, say like watermelon, if their favorite fruit was watermelon, then they would learn the word watermelon in English. All right. And now going into some phonics games. So you can always adapt any phonics games using readers. You could just adapt it and focus on the targets that were in the reader or using the sentences that were in the reader. All right. So I'll give you some ideas for some phonics games that I thought of. Hopefully some of these are kind of new, or maybe I put a different wrinkle on the games that you can take into your classroom. So these are some 5 games that I thought of, or that I've kind of looked up as well and used before. So we have a spin and rhyme, mystery bag, erase the sound, I Spy, and Battleship Phonics. Okay. So with spin and rhyme, I know some of us are teaching online. You can make your own wheel and try to use it in the camera, but there are some websites out there. You can just do a quick search. You'll find some websites that have like a wheel that you can use online, a digital wheel. And then, so with spin and rhyme, you can just kind of re-practice. So here, let me reshare. So here's kind of a wheel that, I just threw in some words that I could think of. And then you can go in and then just kind of spin the wheel. So for you guys, so if I have the word bad, there's an applause. So this one has even different sounds and stuff with it. So now in chat, can you tell me some words that rhyme with bad? Sad. Oh, not bag. So you can either do rhyming, or you can even change it to the same beginning target sound with the buzz sound. So bad, mad, dad. No, not can't. So if we were focusing on like the main target, we would be able to get it. Yeah, but we're looking for like words that end in ad here. So like dad, sad, glad, fad. And then for some of these other ones, had, good. Then for some of these other ones, it's like, okay, it's like some of you have been doing. So if our focus target was the sound, you can do the same thing, okay? So now can you tell me some other words that have the sound in it? And some of you did that. Pad, bat, good. So there's different ways that you can kind of, hat, good. Different ways that you can kind of adjust it as well. So if you don't want to practice rhyming, you can focus just on the sound target, okay? And do it that way. Okay. So then we can go again, you can spin. Hopefully it doesn't get the same one. Doesn't look like it will. So hand. So here, like if we focus in on the h sound. So what are some other words that, you know, have that start with an H or have the h in it? Helicopter, hat, good. So it does say rhyme, so people are giving me rhyming words, but I'm just trying to talk it through as well as what you can do with the different ones. Sand, good, stand. Okay. So this is just an example. So something you can do with the students, you can rhyme it. Say if you went back into an in-person class, you can do the same thing with the wheel. Popsicle sticks, you can use popsicle sticks to get the students even more involved. If you were doing that, you can have the students pick out a popsicle stick and then they would rhyme it, do it that way. So it's kind of a very simple activity you can adapt depending on what target or what you want to practice with your students. Okay. I also will be sharing my PowerPoint with you. This will be made available. So these websites that I linked in here, you'll be able to go to them directly as well. Okay, and then mystery bag. So this is kind of a very simple game as well. So you have your own bag. So we have this bag here. Like I have my little Harry Potter bag. And you can there's some kind of random stuff that we have in this bag that we use for other webinars and kind of videos and stuff that we do. And then, but with your students, you would kind of, put stuff that you are learning in the lesson. So if we were practicing, before we had like a cat, apple, and book, you kind of put that all in here. But I have a lot of different random things in here. So do you guys want to guess? A random guess of what we have in this magical bag, Harry Potter bag. Flashcards, a wand. Oh, maybe this could be a wand. Special kind of wand. Smart Phonics Readers. And Apple toys. So we do have like a little pointer. So this could be like a wand. Puppets. Actually, I think we do have a puppet. Oh no, this is a bit of a hat. So we have a little Santa in here. Yeah, so we have different fun things in here as well. Okay, so that's kind of a thing you can do. If you're in person with the students, say you had like different toys to kind of represent the target words. You can have the students, like you can kind of isolate it in your bag and have the students kind of feel it. Have the students feel it and then they can guess what it is. You can kind of do it that way as well. So hopefully when we have more in-person classes again, that's something that you could possibly do. But in the meantime, you can kind of, if you were doing it on camera, like I would just make my camera bigger and then kind of have the students guess what's in the bag. Yeah. So then here we have erase the sound. Yeah, you can describe it, describe the objects. Give the students hints, so it's not just kind of blindly guessing like I had you guys do. Okay. So here, erase the sound. So this one here, you can draw a picture. So this one's kind of easy to do both, online or in the classroom. So drawing a picture and then asking the students to find the image, and then you kind of erase it, okay? So an example here that I've used. So here we have a snowman. Okay, we have a snowman. So the first one I'm going to ask, oh, how the color changed. This actually should be a different color. So erase the k sound. So we have the C, the k. So normally when you make a snowman, when people have made snowmans, what do they use for their nose? What kind of thing? A carrot. Yeah, when I made this, the color changed. So this should be orange, which would have made it a lot more easier instead of giving hints. But yeah, the carrot. So then when the students say carrots, then you kind of delete or erase it. Okay. So let's keep going through. Now erase the b sound. B. Buttons. Very good. There was one time where I did this activity, they said body, which also actually works, but not the target that I was looking for. So b and buttons. Good. And then the last one here, h. Hat. Good. So b, buttons, h, hat. Very good. They also did, also with the C, someone said cap, which also would have worked. But yeah, it wasn't the target that I was looking for. Luckily, I did not write it, or didn't draw a hand, Marquez. So luckily, I saved myself there as well. There's no hand. But yeah, so that one here, delete the hat. Okay. So that's the erase the sound kind of activity that you can do. And you don't even have to have just like one picture like this. You can just have various images on one thing. So you can have like a cat with an apple and all that, and then kind of erase it that way, just to make it more simpler as well. Then going into I Spy. So this was, very big when I was a kid. The big I Spy books, and they kind of give you a list of things to find. You could do the same thing, but also just give phonics targets for the students. So if we're looking at this picture here, and I give you the B target, what are some things that you can find with the B? So bunny, very good. There's some bunny. What else? Bag, button, ball, good. How about this one right here? So you can also give a hint. We have a Tabasco. We have some Tabasco right here. Bottle, good. Beer, I don't think there's beer on there. Button, bottle, ball, good. And then also one I haven't seen yet. How about a color? What colors do you see? Blue. And then the background here, black. Okay, so the target, brown, good. Okay, and then we can keep going. Then the letter S. What do you see? The letter S. You see a star, good. Sheep, good. Small, good. Spider, good. The spider's on top. A spring. Is there a spring somewhere? Yeah. Smile, very good. And that was what I was going to try to point out. 6, good. You guys got all the ones that I was going to try to give hints at. So the smile and the 6, good, very good. Okay. Oh, the letter S. You can find the letter S as well. Good. And then one more, the letter F. Frog, good. We have the frog prints here. The flower, good. Fairy, very good. Fairy was going to be the ones I was going to try to see. Elf, good. That doesn't have to be at the beginning, could be at the end, good. The F sound at the end there. 5, good. Face, wonderful. Fluffy, very good word. Very good. Yeah, so this is kind of something you can do as well with the students. And these images you can just kind of find anywhere, or like if you search for them, kind of do it that way. Okay, very good. And then the last one here, Battleship Phonics. So Battleship was a board game that I played a lot when I was a kid. And you can kind of do the same with the phonics. Do you guys know or remember or have heard about the game Battleship? So it's the same concept essentially as the board game. So you kind of have a table. I'll show you an example in a little bit. And then the students will put marks on their table. So each of them will have their own individual card. And then their partner will be saying a word, basically. So you'll give them like the beginning letter and then the ending. And then they'll be making their words, and they have to kind of find their where their partner marked it. So for an example here, so this is kind of what it would look like. You can always switch it this way. So they have the B on the top, and then they have the endings here. So they have bog, bad, bed, bag. So they can do it this way. And so this is my card. So my partner would try to find where I marked it. So you can give them different sizes where they have to mark it. So like a 1, 2, and a 3 in continuation. So like if the student, if my partner had said hog, then I would, put an X mark here. Actually, yeah, X mark here. And you mark it out that way. And then they would keep going back and forth. So they're practicing their phonics targets and practicing, their sounds and the words and all that. So you can also, and this was also something that kind of Sue mentioned in one of her webinars as well. Some of these that go together aren't actually, words. Like you can introduce the kind of nonsense words with the class as well. So even if some of the letters that you choose and the endings don't actually create a word, it's still getting the students to practice those phonics targets, regardless if it's a target, if it's an actual word. Okay? Like said, S-E-D, isn't the correct wording or spelling of said, but the way it sounds is an actual word. Okay, so that's one way you do it. So let me erase that. Okay, so that's Battleship phonics that you can do with your students. Okay, so quick recap. So that's actually and from the activities and lesson ideas. Before I kind of go into the wrap up, was there any questions regarding any of the activities or the kind of ideas that I kind of presented to you guys today before I kind of wrap it up for all of you? Yeah, if anything, you also, I'm making this PowerPoint available for you guys as well that I've attended today. So I'll be sure to send that out. So just a quick recap. So with Smart Phonics Readers, we've made it, in line with Smart Phonics. There's a lot of similarities and overlap with them. But again, I will say that you can adapt depending on what series you're using, because Smart Phonics Readers, we have the actual phonics targets on them. So if your class is practicing that phonics target, you can easily use it in that lesson. We tried to make all the stories fun, imaginative, very kind of pleasing to the eye, very different styles, have its own kind of personality, and very just kind of overall fun. I had a lot of fun creating the stories I did, just, taking the words and kind of making a fun story to it. I talked about the illustrations. The digital contents are all there, especially in this times of, where we're doing distance learning or teaching online. Having the app for the students to kind of download or present to them, very big tool that you can use with the animations and the audio and the word games, all good to be able to utilize in your lessons. Kind of the same thing here with the phonics activities and the dictionary and the activity sheets, and for you as a teacher, having a lesson plan for each story. Okay. Kind of made sure that I asked you guys if you had any questions, but this is my email here. If you have any questions regarding anything in my PowerPoint, say that you receive later, and kind of don't remember some of my explanations, or you want me to explain further, I will be giving you some contact information. So very first, we have our kind of social media and websites here that you can look up more about us. We have the eFuture website, so just search kind of eFuture and you can see what we have. All of our downloadables are available there as well. Follow us on Facebook. A lot of information, a lot of things that we're creating, a lot of resources are uploaded to our Facebook page and Instagram at that. We're becoming a bit more active on our Instagram page as well. So we are uploading a lot of videos, a lot of, activity ideas and all that you can kind of look at. A lot of them will mostly be on our YouTube channel. So we have model lessons that we've done for those that have just started using some of our books. We do have model lessons to give you kind of a visual idea of how to teach them, right? And then, like I talked about, activity ideas. So a lot of the activity ideas that I talked about today, we might have a video on our YouTube that kind of real-time kind of displays how to do the activity with your students as well. So be sure to check us out on YouTube. Kind of uploading on the webinars will also be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So if there's things that you want to rewatch, we know that webinars are like an hour. So uploading an hour video, can be a bit tedious to go back and watch, but we are putting timestamps. So if there's something that you want to jump to, we have that available. Okay. With Smart Phonics, we do have things regarding Smart Phonics on there. So when you get this PPT, I did a previous webinar regarding Smart Phonics, and then we also have the introduction as well. And now the last important thing, hopefully you guys haven't all left yet. I know you're all thanking me and I appreciate all of your guys' time. So here's the last thing. So if you want kind of the PPTs, you want more information about these books, where you can get them, these are the people that you can contact to find out where they are, as well as your certificates, okay? So we do give attendee certificates to all of you that have joined me today. So the one thing I do want to thank you guys for your patience. It does take a bit of time to get the certificates out there, but we want to make sure that, the people that actually show up, that actually, kind of took their time to come in and join the webinars, receive these certificates. Because I knew we had some, inquiries about giving a link out and all that, but we want to kind of legitimize a bit of these certificates, want to make you feel special because you guys are all special for being able to, put the effort into coming, 9, 10 p.m., 4 a.m., all these times out of your day to come in. So that's kind of our thought process on why we kind of, ask the attendees to kind of talk to our partners in your country to get you these certificates. So thank you guys for your understanding with that part. So yeah, if you do send an email and after say like a week or like 4 days, 3 days, you don't get it, please contact us on our Facebook page or our email, and we will be able to kind of confirm with our partners ourselves as well that you guys get it. So we will do our best and everything with that. So thank you. Thank you guys all for joining me. Hopefully my voice is starting to get a bit dry. We do have a survey link, so feel free to fill that out for us as well. If you have any ideas or kind of suggestions for types of webinars that you'd like to see going forward, or all that, we will, take it in and try to improve our webinars as much as we can. So just like as teachers, just like as students, there's always something that we can improve on, and getting feedback from you guys is kind of the best way that we can go about doing that. So please fill that out for us, and thank you guys so much. Be here for a little bit. Thank you for joining. Hopefully, for all those first timers, this was very helpful for you, and we will be back next month. Be sure to follow us on social media. We will be posting the schedule very soon. We will be back next month with more webinars and starting our expert series, webinar series for this year. So we have a lot of people coming in. I believe next month we have David Noonan and Julie Chen for our first expert series of this year. So those links and everything will be coming out soon. So just be sure to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram as well. You can follow us there. We will be posting all of our schedules. Okay. So thank you guys one last time. Thank you all for joining. I will see you in the next webinar. I'll be in the chat next time supporting. So thank you guys all. I see that one last question before I go. Where are you? We're going to send a certificate. So in the country, so on this table here, just email this this contact information here and say that you were in this webinar, and we have our list. So they will confirm that you did attend, and then they will send it to the email that you registered with. So that's how we will be sending out the certificates. All right. Okay. So thank you guys all again, and I'll see you all. Hopefully you all are safe, and have a good night, good afternoon, good lunch, and everything. So take care, everybody. I'll see you next time.